Okay.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome to our third episode of Black Dance Stories. Yay! So here's a note about why we're here. Our dance world was pummeled by COVID-19, and Black dance artists are finding ways to talk about life during this time. Our world was further turned upside down after horrible events ensued nationally and globally, bringing attention yet again to the need for the Black Lives Matter movement. Black dance artists have not been quiet since. Black dance artists have been doing the work. Black dance artists continue to make work. To stay involved, we hold these weekly impromptu discussions and tell stories, Black dance stories. This is one action, and we promise that we will stay involved. We are a community working together to support, uphold, highlight, and celebrate Black creatives. Tonight is our third of what we hope will be many stories told in the artist's own voice. Tonight, it's Cynthia Oliver and Marjani Forte Saunders' turn. Yay!
Yay!
First, some introductions though. I am Charmaine Warren. I am a Jamaican. I am the great granddaughter of Ida Boyd, granddaughter of Solomon Goldson and Ruby Chapman, and daughter of Theophilus Warren and my 94-year-old mother, Perline Warren, who lives in Jamaica. I am a non-disabled Black woman. I live in Montclair, New Jersey with my husband, photographer and graphic artist Tony Turner, on the stolen land of the indigenous Lenape people. Our daughter, Ashe Turner, a Black ballerina with locks, is going into her junior year at Boston Conservatory. I have locks that fall just below my shoulders. I'm wearing large orange and purple earrings and a peach t-shirt. Behind me are photos of our family, a large plant, a lamp, and African masks. I am here with my friends, Kimani Fowlin and Nick Hall. This is our team. I'm here with them because of my love for dance as a performer and because of all the gifts that I've received and will always share. Oh, I want to cry. I turn it over now to Kimani.
Thank you, my sister Charmaine.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kimani Fowlin. I am coming to you from the village of Harlem. Woohoo! On stolen Lenape land. I am a Black woman and I live with my 9-year-old son. I am the granddaughter of Lucille Madison, recently transitioned at 104. I teach because of her. I am the daughter of Ronald Augustus Fowlin, Jamaican warrior, and Anne Fowlin, Renaissance woman. I dance because of them. My son Tamayo keeps me present, Lord does he, with the fascination of a blossoming young visual artist. And now I'm turning it over to the awesome guru. Ready, Charmaine? We bow
down to Nick.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nick Hall. I am Haitian American, and I was born in Brooklyn to Sheila and Curtis Hall. My family, including my sisters Isabella and Victoria, now live in Montclair, which is on stolen Lenape land. I'm a recent graduate of the Ailey Fordham BFA program. I'm in a white room wearing a flannel shirt with Black patterns. I'm the digital media coordinator, digital media manager for Black.
That's
right. Get that right.
And with that, I'm going to pass it back to Kimani for some announcements.
So I just want to let everyone know it takes a village to do this, right? And our village exists a family behind the scenes. We have Cynthia Tate, the amazing Cynthia Tate, who is our publicist. We have Gabe de Coladanu, who is our awesome web designer, and the incredible, the awesome Tony Turner, graphic designer and husband to Charmaine. So please, please, please consider donating to us and to these amazing artists. We will put a link tree in the chat so that especially during these uncertain times, if you find that you can give this amazing gesture of generosity, we would appreciate it. So you will find it there. And we also want to thank IABD's sponsorship. We are so grateful. We have a wish list that I just want you to know, which is why we asked for donations. And we are looking to bring a website, ASL interpreter, blog, administrative assistance, and archiving these officially, these stories, because of the importance of having them here, and computer and streaming equipment. So we thank you in advance, and we will now pass it back to Charmaine.
Just one quick thing.
Oh, Nick, sorry. Go ahead.
I just want to ask everyone to leave your name in the comment section while the stream is happening, just so we can see who's joining us, so we can really feel the community as the stream is happening. And now back to Charmaine.
Thank you, Nick.
Caught it. I caught it.
Oh.
And now it's my turn. Wait, Nick and Kimani, get ready. Because here comes Cynthia with her glass. Everybody pull your glasses out. Cynthia Oliver, whoop, whoop. Come, my daughter. Come, sister. Come.
I'm coming. I'm coming. I'm coming with my head full of wisdom. I'm coming.
I'm coming. Cheers, everybody. Cynthia.
Yes, ma'am.
Listen. You and I were just saying, can we remember? Wait, bye, Nick and Kimani. They're here with us. But we're going to give the floor to the one and only Cynthia. And we were just saying, when we met, we don't even remember when we met.
So
right?
long.
Long time.
Long time.
We don't have no nice time.
We always have a nice time, Dreddy. Always.
Hey. If y'all didn't know, Cynthia and I are both Caribbean.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. So tell me, daughter. Tell me, sister.
Well, I guess I should properly introduce myself, eh?
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to yank for a while.
Yank. I don't even know if anybody know what yanking means, but
they don't need to know what yanking is. I say a yanking though. Hello, my name is Cynthia Oliver. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm a Black Caribbean woman born in Bronx, New York, boogie down, and raised in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. I am mother to Elias, wife to Jason, my partner in art and life, sister to Loretta, Lillian, Beryl, Junior, Ronald, and Ray. I know that's a long list. Daughter to Mary and Everett, friend to many, and I hope more to tonight. I am non-disabled. I have salt and pepper, but probably now mostly white hair. I'm sitting in my home, in my dining room, with artwork given me by a loved one that's right behind me on the wall. I'm wearing a white shirt, and just for dress up sake, I put on some red lipstick. I've been working pretty exclusively in my home, in my office upstairs for the past 17, now going on 18 weeks. I live in Urbana, Illinois, on ancestral and rightful lands of the Peoria, Kaskaskia, Piankashaw, Wea, Miami, Mascoutin, Ottawa, Sauk, Muskogee, Kickapoo, Potawatomi, Ojibwe, and Chickasaw nations. I am about to complete one more turn around the sun on Sunday. Yes, Sunday is my birthday. My friends, I am, yes, a Cancer girl. Libra moon, Gemini sun. So if that tells you something about me, well, all right then.
All right then.
So it's awesome to have this platform. I am honored that my sister Charmaine invited me. Charmaine, as many of you know, is a force of nature, a visionary, an unceasing advocate and cheerleader for our field, and someone I consider a friend. So I've known Charmaine for many years as I was living in New York and popping in and out, touring with various companies. I would catch her. I think I remember first watching you, Charmaine, perform with David Rousseff.
Oh, my David.
And I watched you with countless others over the years, as you always wrote about and championed our art in whatever form it has and does take. And I see this that we're doing now as another one of those manifestations. So thank you, Charmaine, my sister, and one whom I call with love and affection, Little Bit.
That's me.
That's right. So let me tell you all, Little Bits bringing the big shit. So I say all of that to say something about transformation. I wrote a few things down today because I was nervous and I thought, if you just give me a platform to just say whatever, I'm not sure I would know what to say. So I wanted to write a little something down. I will, of course, kind of depart from that, but I say all of that before to say something about transformation, malleability, adaptation, shifting. I've been thinking a lot about advocacy, and I'm sure many of us have, also in the many forms that in which it can come, both activism and advocacy. And a message that I learned as a young one, a little one growing up in the Caribbean, that we need every hand, every voice, all of it. We need all kinds. And it comes in many forms, iterations and incantations. So I personally am not one to think we need necessarily to advertise it. And I know we're living in a very different moment now, and young folks use social media to both activate and garner the energies and the publics that they need and that they rely on. And I hear that, and I am learning. My 16-year-old is teaching me. So I appreciate that. So we live in a different kind of culture now, one that seems to require us sometimes to prove our allegiances and our level of advocacy in our politics. And that's generally something that I don't always do, but I will say here this evening that I've always believed that my art has done some of that labor. And I guess, to say how I think of my choreographic practice as one that has been intent on recognition. I've always wanted my work to be a mirror. I've always seen the brilliance and the genius in what Black people do every day that might go unheralded, that we might not even recognize, right? So like the gesture, the guttural utterance, the lightning fast eye roll, the trips of the teeth, those seemingly small things that can go unnoticed, and the big things that get noticed out of perhaps for the reasons, for the easy reasons rather than the more complex ones. And so I've always been interested in kind of unearthing all of the depths of layers of what it is that we do. Those things and the concerns that matter to us are what have always been important to me. And it hasn't always been recognized as such, I mean, we all are we have had our particular paths in the field that have been challenging in very different ways, but I'm dogged, and I am intent on first offering those things to ourselves, and then others should they be so inclined. So I have, and I know we all have had the benefit of the work that has come before us, the shoulders upon which we stand. And I feel like we are also obliged, in my mind, to stand strongly enough, broadly enough, for others to get a foothold on ours. I believe that the work that I do every day is building just such a platform. As my aunt in St. Thomas would say, my back strong. And every day I am trying to make it stronger so that others can get a leg up, right? Others in my community also say things like, Yokotek delix. In other words, can you handle the heat? And I feel like that goes hand in hand with our individual paths. We've got to handle the heat. And I've tried to handle it as best I can for myself and for my people. And as, not to say that there haven't been moments when I've questioned it or felt like I was faltering. And that's when you lean on your sisters and your brothers. That's when, like for me, Lori Carlos, my mentor, she often would tell me to do the work, right? Just do the work. And not let the kind of environment that can beat us down take over or dictate what it is that we want to do or how we should do something. But I guess, I guess thinking about this particular moment, this moment that we're all living in, this is a moment of transformation for me, for all of us, right? And I've had these moments before in my life, not quite like a pandemic, or not this kind of pandemic. I mean, we all know the pandemic of racism and those kinds of disparities that we have negotiated our entire lives, many of us. But this has caused me to kind of think about what dance has meant for me. And I've known many moments of transformation, and dance has been there for me at every turn in so many ways. As a teen, as a young woman interested in experimental work, but also feeling the need at the time, and this was my early years in New York, to assure myself that I was making that choice, not because I couldn't do the wickedly skilled stuff, but because I was choosing to do something else. And I know there was a certain kind of division in the field at that time. I don't know if that still exists. I was enjoying watching the brother Jamar the other night, last week, I guess it was, talking about his own interests and the craft of his making and all of that. And I was wondering to myself, it's been 20 years since I've left New York. And I was just wondering if there's that same kind of division between uptown and downtown, between experimental and those kinds of things, or if this is a moment where we are kind of pulling all of it together, thinking about what Black artistry, choreography encompasses. But dance has also been a vehicle for me to be a vessel for others in a deeply learning place. Then later as a maker, because there were many years when I was not interested in choreography at all. I wanted to channel the work of others, and that was really, really beneficial and and informative. I loved those years. And then later as a maker, at the urging of a presenter, Mark Russell at PS 122 at the time, who saw in me what I wasn't yet even ready to acknowledge in myself. So dance then offered me an opportunity to traverse the world with esteemed choreographers, and it was an avenue for me to then return to my studies. So when I had this moment, I had a moment where I thought I had kind of hit a certain level of fatigue. I had experienced significant success early. And I thought, well, is this it? Is this what happens? Is this, do you do this over and over and over again for the rest of your life? Maybe it was something that spurred me to just kind of take a pause. So when Mark Russell came and said, maybe you should start thinking about making an evening length work. He had seen a short solo I made with a group of women who had created a collective. Many of women from Urban Bush Women and some others who we all pulled together our resources and created this collective. And we decided to make this evening of dance. And I made this solo, and it got some attention, and Mark urged me to create work. So that was a shift, a conscious shift that I made. And then, an avenue to return to my studies, deepen my study of dance, think about performance, bring to my craft another level of intellectual curiosity. I went to NYU Performance Studies. And that was really challenging and beautiful and life-changing. And then I moved to Illinois, and a position in an academic institution that I had no plans on. This was not a goal, but the life surprises, right?
Yeah.
I could do my thing. I could advocate. I could influence. I could make some change somewhere. And then dance saved my life. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in the late 2000s, and had to draw on all my strength and reserve to continue to be here. And it was dance. It was my infant son at the time. It was my loving family that brought me through. But I have had a tumultuous relationship with it. I've doubted it. I've fought with it. I've gotten tired of it. I've wanted to ignore it. And this moment is one in which I honestly don't know where I stand with dance. And it was interesting because before this, Marjani and I were kind of tapping back and forth, just saying, hey, I'm so honored to be in the same space with you, virtual space with you. She asked, do you want to move? And I was sort of like, oof. Not that I don't move every day. I walk for miles a day to keep my head straight, but I don't know what I want to do with it right now. I'm writing about it. I'm thinking about it. I haven't yet been inspired, but I'm sure that something will come of this moment. I just don't know what.
Yeah.
What I do know is that I trust in it. As a form, I trust it. So like in that same way that I'll walk into an empty studio terrified, unsure that I can pull it off one more time and make something that will interest me, or that will draw on my roots, that will reveal my feelings back to me, my deep love for my people, back to them, us, and just the way we need it when we might need it. I was having a conversation with BB, last week or the week before, and she had invited me to dance in Necessary Beauty at the same point where I am now. She was my age then, and she hadn't been dancing with her company for 10 years. And I said to her, I don't know how you did that, because I can't, I can't imagine like getting that up to do that. And she was like, it'll grab you again. So I believe her. And I don't know how, but it's like every time I have finished birthing that baby, each performance of a recent work, I say, ooh, I am never doing that again. And maybe on some level it's true, not so much as dance itself, but that dance. Something else will capture me. I just don't know what it is. I don't know what it is yet. So, that's where I've been during this moment, this COVID moment.
This COVID moment. Wow. Baby Miller.
Yes. Yes.
Talk about family, right? And talk about your people.
Yeah.
And who holds you up so much.
Yeah. Yeah, and that community is large. It's large. And I draw on my folks all the time. I reach out, I'm texting, say, how you doing? Hey, what's going on? What you doing?
What you doing?
What you doing?
And they say,
they write back and write, girl, stuff. Or stuff, nothing, right. We're trying to rest, I mean, it is interesting that rest has become the radical practice. Yeah. Challenging for me, but something I try to build into my everyday. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about Urbana and being in academia?
Sure. Well, who knew I would love this place? I love it. It's this little college town, 2 hours south of Chicago. So, when I have a city fix, if I need to go up to the city, I run up there, go holler at Daryl Jones.
Daryl!
Yes, and Anya used to be there. So yeah, it's 2 hours south of Chicago. It's a college town. It's a small, intimate place with beautiful people, very diverse. I'm a 15-minute walk from one of my offices. I have a couple of roles at the university now. So yeah. It's a classic. I like y'all. I got more than one job.
What roles, pray tell?
Okay, so I am my appointment is in the dance department. I am a professor in the dance department. I am also in the office of the Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation, and so I am. The title is Associate Vice Chancellor for Research and Innovation in the Humanities, Arts, and Related Fields. And so what I do is I advocate. I mean, my job is to advocate. I advocate for artists. I advocate for humanists. I try to help people find money. I help them get their proposals, their writing in shape, whether it's for a book proposal or grants or whatever they need. I am there to assist. And I have a great team of people, a team of faculty that help in this process. We all do it together, and it's really great. So, the kind of, the perception of the academy is a kind of crabs in a barrel kind of thing. Yes, of course, those things happen, but I actively work not to have that kind of environment, that we are all trying to lift one another up. And it's great. It's great. So I do both those things.
And you talked about advocacy in the beginning, and clearly you're in the right position, but this supporting the younger generation. And you kind of intimated about that, but yeah, right? We are standing on many people's shoulders, but this is where we are now. Hence Black Dance Stories. But this is where you feel that you're here, right? And we have to do this.
Yeah. And do it in many different ways, you know. I mean, you know, I sit on panels and I do that so that I could educate myself about what people are doing right now. And make sure as best I can in those environments that the money gets distributed reasonably equally. When I am asked to make suggestions about people that folks should look at or curate, or if I have an opportunity like at Gibney to, you know, curate my own evening, I'll bring in two people that I think need attention because their work is slamming. You know, I just believe that this particular move for me allowed me to step out and back so that I could see a broader perspective of what we can do both individually and collectively. So, you know, it's hard when you're in the mix and you're hustling, and you might see every peer as a competitor. You know, the Academy has allowed me to kind of step back from that. Yes, I still compete for grants. You know, obviously, y'all see my name out there. I'm still hustling, but also wanting to make sure that I reach and say, you know, come on, let's do this, you know.
You just gave us a beautiful transition.
Good.
Come on and say this. Marjani! Marjani!
Marjani!
Come on! Come on, Cynthia said.
Come on, Marjani. Come on, baby.
Because you know I'm coming if you say come on. That's the only way I'm coming. Is if y'all say come on through.
I'm gonna leave it to y'all for a minute. Okay?
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Hello, my sis.
Hi, man. Hi.
Hi. So before this kind of went live, we were trying to recall when we first met, and we couldn't do that. But and I just feel like, you know, it's funny and interesting that it's so difficult for us all to like remember when was that first time, because there's something about a certain kind of familiarity and a sense of home that I hope we feel with each other. I know I feel that with you all, and I hope that's what we give each other. But what I remember more recently is that I came to NYLA to see your, it might have been your tech, but it was a run through of your piece that was dealing with similar material as mine. We were doing it, of course, from different perspectives, but we were both looking at Black masculinities. And it was really beautiful to come to NYLA and to see what you were doing. And to see that, you know, the community that you had, your husband, your child.
It's funny, you know, Cynthia, I see Nia Love in this chat, and I gotta lift the sister up in a particular way. There's so many fronts, so you may hear me drop her name a couple times, but Nia is the one who, when we were doing, I was at DTW for Fresh Tracks, and Mariah Weathers,
yes,
was running that program, right? I think she piloted it, and she said, I mean, I was working the first piece I put on a concert stage, and I had shown bits and pieces of it to Nia one time at Dance New Amsterdam. Take it all the way back. And Nia was like, you know, you should get Everett to do some sound for you. And I was like, he don't know what he doing. You know, of course, the brother had been inside of a long practice of, you know, composing beats. Now, remember, in my framing, which was still, you know, kind of short-sighted in its relationship to white supremacist structures and ideas. I didn't quite wrap my head around that, but I would say Nia, who was really pulling me into a liberated mind frame, asked me to talk to my boyfriend at the time about this. And Everett pulled the score out of his ass. To this day, I mean, it's one of my favorite pieces of music, and that was for Ego. And so we have literally been making work together ever since, and that was in 2009, 2010. And yeah, so you saw Memoirs of a Unicorn. I should also say Memoirs of a Unicorn, you know, I called you about it because you're right. There was like a flock of sisters we were asking these questions because Eric Garner had been killed, Philando Castile, and Trayvon Martin. So, you know, here we are, in 2020, what is this, 2020, with another slew of murders of Black men and women, Black people.
Yes.
And we're asking these questions again. And we will continue asking these questions because it's not just about living, but it's about our futurity. And yeah, so I was asking you about that, about what your experience in the gathering, what your gathering of stories was for Virago Mandem.
And that was inspired by the birth of my son. And so, you know, giving birth to a male child in America, you know, that is something that one has to be prepared for, you know. And if you ain't prepared, once he gets here, you've got to do your due diligence. And so this was a part of my practice to make myself aware of what that meant on an internal place for Black masculines. And what I could do as a mother, as a sister, as a, you know, daughter, and all that. I wanted to understand more deeply. And choreography for me is where I work through all of these things.
Yeah.
And I saw that with you when I came to NYLA, and we were talking through like some of the concerns that we had about making work as, you know, female biological people. What does that mean? You know, do we have the right to do it? If we do, what perspective do we take? What do we have to bring into it? What do we need to consider? Yeah.
It's coming up. Can't stop
that movement.
She's been on this computer and I can't stop it. I was just gonna move it, and I can't help it.
That's all right. That's great. I told you I would be here to cheer.
No. Oh man. Exactly. You know what? While we were dreaming up Unicorn, I somewhere in between there, I think we had conceived in Kosi. That's what happened. It's like, so like we were at one apartment, you know, and then we had moved and to Auntie's house, to Rhonda's house right here. And we had conceived in Kosi. And then the piece took on another kind of urgency. I'll never forget, I was in that doctor's office and the nurse said, "It's a boy. Do you want to know?" And we're like, "Yeah, sure, we don't care." We were like, "Yeah, we don't care." You know, all cocky and shit. And she was like, "Yeah, it's a boy." And we were like, it was just like, and I remember I went down actually to Nia's house. We were in the same building and I sobbed. Because I just wasn't clear. I just could not fathom what his existence would be in the context of what we had just seen on camera. Now you know what I mean? So yeah, so I understand what you're saying when you talk about your son in another kind of way.
Yeah. Well, I should dip out and leave you to do your thing.
What? Wait, you helping me with this?
Yeah.
Thank you. But wait, before you go though, Cynthia, let's welcome Marjani. Come on now.
Okay.
Marjani. Yes, yes. All right, Marjani, take it away, sis. We're here for you.
I had to drink it already. I'm nervous as hell. What am I going to talk about after Cynthia? I don't know what I'm going to say.
Are you going to get up and dance? No. Well, where are you? That's
okay,
one.
Okay.
And then get up and dance. And then get up and dance.
Okay, no. I'm not going to. I'm just going to move like randomly. Okay, so my name is Marjani Forte Saunders. I identify as a Black womb holder woman. I would say I'm of the Saunders, Emerson, Moore, and Forte clans. I'm a daughter of many, but most immediately that is of Rick Forte, of Elaine Moore, Emerson, and of Jarvis Emerson and Debbie Forte. Those are my parents, all four of them.
Count them. Well,
Rickety Green did the crew to get me here. Okay, so I'm the mommy of Nkosi, and I'm a partner to Everett Saunders. We call him lovingly Everett Assis. Let's see. I'm sitting in my backyard here in what is called Pasadena, California, but what is the home of the Hahamonga tribe, which are of the Tongva people. Now, I got to do a little quick interception on there because I was so grateful to have done that research. I hadn't done it in enough time, but I was so grateful to do that research because Nkosi started watching a cartoon. He's obsessed with the Transformers. He started watching the Rescue Bots. And the Rescue Bots started talking about the settlers. And I was like, say word? He started talking about the settlers. I was like, wait, are we still telling those? Are we still talking about that shit in the same way? That's so ridiculous. 2020. Evolve. And so then I had to put the shit on pause. I was like, Kosi, you know where we live right now? You know where we are? He was like, mm-hmm. And of course he didn't. I had to talk to him. I was like, actually, and we had to work on the pronunciation a couple of times. The Hahamonga tribe. Just to get him to understand that there's history to everything, especially to place, but more so that history has a relationship to indigeneity that is critical to our futurity. And so like I just was trying to get that dude to like, okay. So I had to correct the cartoon. So that's me. I'm sitting in my backyard among my succulents and across from our fledgling herb and veggie garden that we've been building since COVID-19, up against a fence that my husband put up with his bare hands. I'm so proud of him. He's a MC, a composer, what do you call it? I don't know, a web designer, and now he's working as a contractor. I'm outside of what it will be a music studio. It's 90% done now. The place is going to be hosting what we're calling satellite residencies, which is in response to being here from COVID-19, but we still have work to do. And so just honoring the legacy of Black folks, the legacy lineages that we come from. We know that Black folks are going to make no matter what. We know that hip hop was born in the burning box. We know that we are going to do what we do anyway. It's a good time to start paying us to do that.
Okay.
Learn from it. The globe learns from it. You know, like you're still playing our music. I go all the way to the bushes of China and you're playing our music videos. You know what I'm saying? So if I can go and travel and see all of that, let's just go ahead and name it so you have a proper place to put your resources to fund us to do the work that we would be doing anyway. That's where I am. And I think I covered all of it. I said I identified as a womb holder woman. Mm-hmm. I said I'm a mother. I think I did all the things. Did I do all the things? I'm sure.
You did all the things. You did all the things. How's your dance friend been treating you?
My dance friend.
Your friend that is dance been treating you.
Man. Well, I gotta really talk to Cynthia about this. Yes, Cynthia say, but we will always have to correct the cartoon. Yeah. Well, I'm struggling a little bit. I was working with, I was on the road. Actually, there's a journey to this thing. So in 2008, I blew out my ACL. And I took a break from Urban Bushwoman, touring a piece that we had been anxiously anticipating since we were accepted into the company, which was in 2006, 2007. This is me and my tribe of Bushwomen, because we know there's several tribes of Bushwomen. And I blew out my knee, I tore my ACL, and we went on tour. And just at the start of that tour, I had to leave to go get knee surgery. And then when I came back, I was stronger than when I left. And it was incredible. It was amazing. I felt alive and aligned, and that was great. Then I decided I was going to pursue my own work as a choreographer. And that took me away from a regular rehearsal practice. So, and then I had a baby. And that took, I don't know, it just changed my whole relationship to my body. And then I snatched that shit together for Unicorn. I snatched it. I took Bikram every single day. Yoga. I took hot yoga every single day. I ate nothing but hard, super amazing, delicious grains in the daytime. And then I stopped and I drank water and tea after 7 o'clock. I mean, I went in because I can do that in a short-term way. And then my life kicked back in, Charmaine. And then Nkosi's life kicked in a certain kind of way in terms of where he had to be. And now I'm renegotiating my relationship with my body. And so I did this thing with Urban Bushwoman, Hair and Other Stories. We did it at Brick, and I struggled through the whole rehearsal process. I was like, fuck, this is hard. We rehearsed 5 hours, 6 hours a day. I was like, oh God, you know, and then I went on the road with my boy, Sabela Grimes. It's an incredible experience out here, right? He was good friends with Everett before I ever knew either of them out of Philly. Really bizarre and amazing confluence of our lives. And I went with him to Electrogenous, and I found myself warming up, just crying, because I just wasn't sure where my body, what is this body, you know? And then we started making profit, and we're at Baryshnikov Art Center, and I'm showing my ideas to Dubois Akin and to Kayla Farish and Ruby Gaskins, and they're hitting it. They're hitting the step hard. And I'm like, wait, hold up. You know, I'm trying to catch my own steps. So what is the dance friend teaching? How is she treating me right now? Oh no. I don't know what she's doing with me right now. She's asking me to rediscover some things. There's a lot of weight and energy in the gesture. I've been looking at bodies that are different places, and I haven't discovered much yet, but I figure it'll show itself up. I trust.
Yeah.
I trust, but it's different.
It's hard to just trust, right? Especially with all this noise that's going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Where do you go to find the quiet so that you can push through the noise?
Yeah.
Because it's loud, right, Marjani?
Yeah. I mean, you know, there's another piece to this. So here's the thing. I want to have this conversation with Cynthia also. I was invited to, I had thought about going to grad school a couple of times. And both times it didn't quite work out, right? And accepted, but the money wasn't quite there. It didn't quite work out with the schedule, all of these things. But what I realized, or what I felt was happening, Charmaine, it was really powerful to hear Cynthia talk about being the Vice Dean of Research and Innovation.
Yeah.
Because part of what's driving me like a maniac, like hard to even sleep at night, is the Black relationship to innovation, which is wicked abundant and often outside of the academy. So I think that I have been really interested in creating and living inside of a space that was about incubating our innovative processes and our innovation outside of the academy. And we can interact with the academy, but it need not be the only place, because the web of supremacy, the web of white supremacy, the web of white supremacy in those spaces felt for me to be like an eclipse, like too much. So, but I don't know that for sure, right? Because I haven't actually been to grad school, and I'm not speaking against grad school. Let me just make enemies. I'm happy to do the work and show up for the masterclass and make that coin. Do know that. But what I'm also just trying to say is that there has to be a relationship to what is happening in the radical, wild space that is outside of the academy, that does not answer to the democratic measures that the academy calls us to. So we've been working on that platform, and we're calling it Art and Power right now. But it's just really building on the thread of liberation movements that we've been studying. You know, Everett and I in our work, identifying now as 7 names, call ourselves, you know, descendants of Black liberation movements. Because in all of those movements, we see the threading and the weaving of certain spaces, the creative space, the artistic space, the spiritual space, the scientific space, and the cultural space. All of those things weaving together in these like really potent ways to make innovative things that are both humanistic at their core, that do not require death or ending in order to perpetuate themselves. Rather, they demand elevation and transformation.
Come on, come on.
Those are the places that I think that those are places I find myself being drawn to and wanting to live in, and that we call ourselves incubating in our work. Oh, there he goes again. Okay, I'm done.
No, you're not. No, you're not. One more time. One more time, because you can't help yourself. You can't help yourself. You're gonna share a teeny tiny bit of Everett and Power, and from Everett, are you gonna share? I know Everett doesn't want to come on camera. Everett, whatever.
I know exactly. He's talking about I didn't get a link. I sent it to your email. He won't do it. He doesn't want to come because he's a bearded soul. And he doesn't want to show his COVID beard. I think it's lovely. But Nia, it's like completely white now. And he doesn't, he's like, it's so white. I don't want to. And I'm like, hey, do it. I love that white beard. I love that white beard. And I love that dusty 4-year-old who just like.
I know. Tell us a little bit about Everett's part of 7 Names.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man.
Because what?
I know. Well, you got to see some drafts of Prophet that we were doing at Rishakov, and what those drafts become here in this space that we're incubating. So we got the studio over here that's going up, and that's like so almost done. Literally, Everett and my dad and Mark Winston, who's this incredible photographer, and our homie here, they're the one family we've been quarantining with.
Yeah.
So there's a studio here, and then across the way, we're going to make a movement space. We're going to lay down those sprung wood floors. That's the power of having a contractor as a daddy. We're going to lay down a whole construction service as a family. So we're going to lay down those floor space. We're going to use our assets. We're going to make this shit happen. And Everett's role inside of this work, man. So Everett has had like this really compelling journey as an artist that has taken him in relationship to and from, you know, the work, but never away from his storytelling, which has lived in the strings of being an MC. So using language and telling stories with language, and really like bending language to speak to what it is. And so we just started looking at like, what are the essentials of what the life of an MC is. And similar to a mover, what we found is the MC never stops being an MC. The real MC, not the rapper, but the real MC, you know, never finishes, never says, I'm going to stop writing rhymes. They just write them in small little notes on their phone or in their notepad and tuck them away and shit like that, right? So we started diving into that, and then we started looking at like, because there had been such little conversation about this form as an artistic practice, or even as a, dare I say, again, we're looking at its intersections of spirituality as a pilgrimage. We started diving into what that looked like. And so we started looking at some of the work of Rumi in particular, and his relationship with, oh God, I just forgot his name. His relationship with his mentor. Ooh, shame on you. And we started looking at the role of the samurai, who also never stops being a samurai until it's time to commit sepulcher, right? And we started looking at or even the mystic sort of livelihood and the fantastical idea of the unicorn, interacting with where we left off with Memoirs of a Unicorn, to really speak to this idea of this MC who is living this mystic and this studious and this warrior-like life. And so we're embodying that, and Everett is telling the stories verbally, and that's Prophet. Yeah.
Yes. I think you did a good job in explaining that.
Yeah. Good.
You get points for that. There she goes again. There she goes again.
Woo! So that's what's happening over here. We're like building that peace, man, and super grateful. You know, Mama Charmaine, I have to speak to a little bit of our history.
Okay.
And just a little bit to how dope it is to always have Charmaine in the audience. If you're making work that's speaking to Black stories, which is really human stories, because that's it is porous, and it has been, and I don't know how many global forms we have to make in order for y'all to understand it. But what I love about having you in the audience is you always understand when the ashe is, when it's time for the ashe.
Oh.
And I remember reading Children of Blood and Bones, right? Did you read that? Children of Blood and Bones, is that right? And I loved how she talked about the magic as being ashe. And I know your baby girl's name is Ashe. But what we know about the Ashe is similar for those of us who grew up in the Black church, who understand about the amen or the or, you know, anything else. What we know about those things is that they remind us that we are both a part of something and that we are on point. And there's nothing more important than knowing that you're on point when you're taking a risk.
Come on.
So I will never be through with thanking you for the way that you participate in our audiences by reminding us that we are there, that we are on point, and that something we did is resonating. You know what I'm saying?
I know, and I also want to talk about the European versus the European versus the African version of being in an audience, because we don't say audience. We do it all together. And it gets in my soul when people go, shh, shh, for what?
That's right.
So we do that. We respond from the gut.
That's right.
It's real.
And we know from the gut. I think that kind of gut knowing, you know, I got to pay tribute to something in conversation with my Bush fam. And, you know, we're taking the SLI, the Summer Leadership Institute, virtually this weekend. And it's this shit, you know, it's like that. It's like, woo, all right, we're doing this thing. Well, one of the things that I love about it, that like one of the core values of it is there's some things that absolutely permeate and transcend all realms, including and especially time. And that is our ability to know when we are in sync, to know when we are in sync with now, with later, and with before. Time bends. Time is a thing that is connected to like our existence in these really like transcendental ways. And if there's any people who know that, it is us. You know, I love the way your girl Adrienne said, man, what'd she say? Like Africans who were teaching their children about spiritual practices in the nights, you know, enslaved Africans who took their children out to learn about their practices.
Right.
Were futurists. You know, there's something that we understand about our perpetuity, and that this moment too shall pass. Mm-hmm. So those are things that like, I'm clinging to, especially now on this web shit when I feel drained and taken out. Like, that's why I'm like, all right, I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna just communicate through this realm, because clearly my body needs to do that. I'm gonna do that because I know that I've been here for a long time, and I know that if I'm not careful, it's gonna suck my energy. And I understand to think of my energy as more than just, I don't know, something that we talk about in language, but a real tangible thing that is for me to mind and care for. I'm rambling.
No, you're not.
Okay.
No, you're not. That thing that we hold on to, you got to say it out loud. You know, say your name, say their names. So tell people what we're holding on to.
That's right.
I don't know what I would do without my friend named Dance.
What will we do? Oh man, and then Cynthia, when you come back on here, we gotta talk about Mama Lori, man.
She said that name.
And the thing about it is, I remember I'd only really gotten to spend a little bit of time with her, but I had heard her story so much, and then I had watched her on video for so long. As a Bushwoman, I had watched her on video so much. And I remember, I always tell this story. When I first met her, I said, "You're Lori." Urban Bushwoman was performing in Minnesota. And I said, you're Lori Carlos. I've learned so much about you. I'm one of the Urban Bushwomen. She said,
no.
She gave me the boot flick. She gave me the boot flick. But it's good. She's fierce. It's all good. Yes. It's all good. And then Nia, that's actually Nia. I think Auntie Rhonda, I think filmmaker Rhonda Haynes and several other just really powerful people. We all sat around Lori at Marlice, at Mama Marlice's house in Brooklyn. Missing Brooklyn so hard. Holding on to our place in Bed-Stuy because that's where we at. That's where we met. That's where we breathe. That's where we do our shit. Yeah. In Bed-Stuy. And so we were in Bed-Stuy and we were at Mama Lori's feet, and she was just telling us stories, and she talked to us about rest. She said, if you don't sit but watch anything but the sun come up and the sun go down, you have done your work as an artist. So when at her memorial at Dance Space, I left just crying because I felt like I didn't finish. Of course, it became about me. I was like, I haven't finished learning from you. I hadn't finished learning from her. But the bit that I was able to get at her feet has forever transformed me, you know. And then talking to her again with Leslie out of, Minnesota. Leslie, I'm missing Leslie's name, not Kuje, but Leslie
Parker.
Yeah. Talking to Leslie, who was a student of Lori's for a long time. Just talking, and connecting with the folks at Pillsbury. Where Lori was pouring a lot of her energy and heart and soul into programming and shaping. She brought Love Forte, me and Nia Love there. So Lori was just an incredibly powerful being in spirit, and is an incredible ancestor for me whose ability to submit and be present in any given moment, unapologetically, whether you fuck with it or not. What, like those are goals, #goals. Yeah, that's
Carlos.
That's Black dance.
Well, I think our friend Cynthia is coming back now.
Good.
And while Cynthia's coming back, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna shout out a gazillion names that are here. Of course, Mama Nia, Laura Marchese, Renee Redding-Jones, Terry O'Connor's here, A.K. Jones. Oh, Ron Alexander. Oh gosh. Eva Ya. What are we gonna do with
Ya?
Eva Ya.
Eva Ya.
Hot dang, Carl Paris is in the house.
All right.
Carl Paris is in the house. Hot dang.
Wow.
Jan Eckert, Mama Nia, of course.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. Laura Greer, y'all. Laura Greer. Tara's here. Tara,
Chicago in the house.
Monique Martin. Monique Carla Peterson. Oh my gosh. Okay, Nikki Perez. Oh, Nikki.
Yes.
Gerald Mason. It just keeps coming. Lucy Sexton.
Get down.
Amy Costello. Paz is here.
Wow, pause.
Okay, so look. Y'all talk for a second while I open my eyes and look at these questions. But
Okay.
I hear tell that Miss, what your name is? Marjani, I have questions for Cynthia. I have to talk to her about this.
Wait, before we did a little bit of recognizing, and I just wanted to recognize the role that Ava
After cheers again. I'm sorry. After cheers again. Cheers again.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers. And then yes, Cynthia, please.
I want to talk to Ava Ya. Talk about Ava Ya. We can come back to Lori, of course. I mean, that's my heart. Ava Ya is so important to our field because I recall prior to the very first review of my work, the major vehicles for reviewing did not recognize, speaking of recognition, and that the work that I wanted to do, have always wanted to do, has been about a certain kind of recognition. Some of the major places did not recognize what it was that artists of color were doing. That what often was considered was that we were doing a poor imitation of other work that was being crafted, as opposed to considering that we were actually working from another aesthetic point of view. And when Ava and Charmaine, well, these folks come into the room with us and write about us and understand what it is that we're doing, that was so valuable. That was so valuable. So yes, it is so important to have Charmaine yucking in the audience when you need that. You need that speaking back too. You need that communication. You need to know that the shit that you did landed and that somebody understood it on a deep level. And to have Ava write those reviews that recognize what it was that we were doing was so valuable. A piece of diamond, a diamond. I just want to say thank you.
I say thank you to Ava because I learn from Ava every day. We bow down to Ava, ya Santa.
Yes.
We bow down. You want to talk about Lori, or can I read or ask questions?
I'm gonna just say Ava also gave me my very first review in the paper, my very first mention ever. I was working with Brandon Ellis and we did this thing to Strange Fruit, and she just like really spoke to where my heart was, and she noticed me at a time where I was still kind of bruised and broken and not really sure about where I fit in the dance world. I was struggling with my body in the dance world. Talk about Black dance, right? I was struggling with a lot of things, and Ava helped me to understand that I had a space just by that review in the Village Voice. That's how far back we go, Ava. That's all.
The review of Rig-a-Dig-a-Dim. Classic. I get chills thinking about it.
Ashe, Ava ya Sante wa.
Yes.
Mama Nia Love said, my back strong and bent on the intent that we step in always on the coals and bearing weight and the heat.
Yes. Sister Nia.
Yes. Yes. Come on. And she said, call on the angels. Lori Carlos. Renee Redding Jones. Renee asks, how do we teach up and coming young artists in this time of transformation? That's y'all.
I don't know if we teach them, we let them teach us. You know, I think they have resources and a fortitude that, I mean, I think we all need to share. Speaking about the kind of the sense of time that Marjani was talking about, the here, the now, the before, the to come. It's got to be a combination of forces that we bring together.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. You know, we did Evan and I, we were working out this program. We were calling it a summer arts camp. And really, it's so funny. So, you know, I'll keep bringing up Nia because this is an integral part of my art creative practice. But while we were La Forte, we did this thing called Dance Without Walls. And the long and short of it is, in both of those processes, what I had to be reminded of is you don't have to come up with everything, babe.
Okay.
Like, they're whole beings. They are whole beings. They're yearning for a certain kind of learning, a certain kind of guidance, right? But you please leave space for them to explode, to be angry and rageful, and also big and bright and powerful, because they are. And I think Nkosi straight up teaches me that every single day. Mom, back up. But he'll actually say, Mom. He'll actually do his hands like that. Mom, back up, because I'm just reminded that he has his own, he's carrying like a legacy and a history with him somewhere that's operating in his spiritual space that he takes up. And so I agree. There's a little bit of a give take, I feel like, with young artists.
And to challenge and to ask, you know, what is it that you see yourself as passionate about? What is it that you're trying to do? What is the connection between what you are physically making and what it is that you're thinking? How you bring those things together? Are you challenging yourself? Are you, you know, what, those kinds of things I think we can work together with.
Oh yeah, totally. Sometimes I do agree, like young people, we have a tendency, I still consider myself a young person.
I was gonna, but I said, let it go on. Cynthia.
Well, we can speak comparatively because for me, you are.
But I just feel like we have a tendency to be a little ahistoric, you know? Sometimes we came up with the new. I also feel like that's a very American thing. Sometimes we're obsessed in the first or the new. But old peoples know that there is no new. There's only now. There's only in this moment. And you're always a part of a fabric of what was. So what I found myself having to remind students of is not that somebody's done it before, but just get them to look sort of at the spectrum of things that have been happening just before them and then ways before them.
Yeah.
So they can see themselves as part of a quilt versus as like the only one to have that thought. You're only going to have it the way you're going to have it because you're new in a certain sense, but you're still carrying the lineage and the voices of people who come before you. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is a little bit of, well, I'm gonna read. Halifu is in the house. Halifu in the house. Halifu in the house. And Alifu, a statement, not a question, said, yes, capital letters. Doing the work is key, and in the work is our redemption, especially during this time of transformation. So that was a statement. Oh, Janice Brenner's in the house. Janice. Aw, but Mama Nia, and I have a girl. You two have boys. And it's that, here we are, pandemic number 2. I don't even have to say more, but making a boy child, a Black boy child in this time. Take it away. I don't think I need a question. Wow.
It's a beautiful thing. It's powerful. I mean, if I can call Lori back into the space, I remember her saying to a number of us, so there were a couple of us who had worked with her for many years, right? And when we had children, we had boys. And she said, look at you feminist bitches. Every last one of y'all went and had a boy. What you gonna do now? And it's been a revelation. I mean, I love it. I love it more than anything. But, you know, being conscious of helping him to own his space, to be aware of the environment that he's in, and also to try to give him the tools to do what he needs to negotiate those spaces and to be honest with himself and those around him, I tried my best. I continue to try to nurture the environment so that this person can realize the best of himself, no matter the world that he's navigating.
His name and his age.
His name is Elias, and he's 16.
Sister Marjani?
Well, I'm only 4 years in, so I don't really know. I don't know shit yet. but there are some factors in place that I noticed, so I'll just name the factors. We're in Pasadena right now, and the house that my mom bought, that we bought from my mama, which is a real blessing, man, because Black folks are having a hard time affording property in this place that we now call Pasadena, but that was inhabited by the Hahamongna people. It's across the street from the elementary school, the school that I grew up in, which was called Omowale Ujama Shule. It's how I knew that Kimani's name was from the Kikuyu people. It's where I learned how to say Habarigani. It's where I learned about Ngugu. It's where I learned about the Ngugu Saba. It's where I learned about, it's where I learned how to greet. It's in Swahili. It's at the core of my being, and we're across the street from it. It's now called the La Pintoresca Teen Center. So there's something to that. There's something in this conversation that I know Nkosi will need to walk into that has to do with what it means to be indigenous, what it means to be of the African diaspora, what it means to be in relationship to the powerful Chicano peoples that are also of this land. And Chicana, the Latinx people who are on the land. We are also surrounded by grandparents, but he has a whole line of family in Philadelphia and then a whole line of kinfolk in New York City that his midwife and his doula, Mama Nankulu Leku and Nia Love, brought him into this world. And that he has a whole tribe of folk in New York who he has to be in relationship with. So I have no idea what raising him is like right now. Right now it's about dealing with TV. With TV, because it's a necessary babysitter right now in this time of COVID, you guys. I don't know. I can't figure out how to do it any other way. It's a necessary babysitter. And it requires a great deal of processing, and I know I can't protect them from everything. I'm scared shitless, but I got a good man up there who's really good at this father thing, and I'm grateful for that partnership. And I'm grateful for the grandparents, so we'll see how it goes.
And I think that foundation that you are providing now is invaluable, because when Elias was young, he had exactly what you are trying to create around him, around your child, is what we also did with Elias. And I was vague in terms of, the tools that I'm talking about or the support that I was mentioning earlier. But for me, it meant making sure that he had a relationship with my father. My father and he were tight until I lost my father last year. They were close. I made sure that we got back to the Caribbean every year so that he was immersed in Black culture, that he knew what it felt like to be a person of color in the majority. He knew what it felt like to have the swagger. Everybody around you looks somewhat like you. And that there is a value in everyday practice, in what they eat, what they say, what the music is playing on the radio, all of that was critical for me to make sure that he had that. And I think if you don't have it on the level of, you know, a whole community, like an island community, you have it in your home. You have the generations of people that your child is in contact with, that they learn from, that they hear from, that they pick up stuff from, the style, the language, the mores, you know, all of that. And so that's the foundation that my child has. And not just for me, from his dad, his dad's side. His dad, he is a mixture of many cultures. His dad is Japanese and Jewish. And so he's got, you know, firm anchoring in his Japanese self, as well as he has in his Caribbean self, as well as he has, you know, in the American environment that we operate in more kind of on a daily basis right now. And so I trust that, here comes that word trust again. I trust that foundation that we built is carrying brother through right now. And I look at him, we have our little things that we do together each day. And it confirms for me that those things work.
What do you do each day? What do you do? Marjani, were you about to respond to Sister Cynthia?
No, I'm listening to notes.
What do you do each day? Because, you know, of course, Mama Nia was just saying we should bring our boys in for this talk. And I wonder, when I was sitting down to think about Black Dance Story, when I was sitting down, I don't sleep. I think about Black Dance Stories all the time. And I'm up all night going, what? But as I'm thinking about this, I just think you can't leave anything out, right?
Because it's all,
it's all a part of it.
Yeah.
Well, we do. I have a routine. I'm a creature of habit. So at a certain point in the day, I close my computer and I check in with him. He's usually drawing, or sometimes he will be, you know, watching YouTube or whatever. And we go outside and we do yard work, or right now we've got a project, we're painting the back porch. He's on one side, I'm on the other. We talking nonsense and we're painting the porch. And we have these projects, these small, you know, the deferred maintenance thing that everybody, you know, is trying to do in this crazy moment that we're in, and sharing those moments, making a project that we do together has been really, really helpful to communicate, to reconnect, because we all get to different places. You know, we're fortunate to have a home where we can all work in our own separate spaces, and then we come together for a meal or to play a game. Or, you know, last week there was a hailstorm and it knocked the power out. And yeah, dead of summer, hail this size.
Wow.
Destroyed the garden, but you know, no power, so we put on some candles and we played Scrabble by candlelight. You know, we're trying to roll, and I think this too will be a significant lesson for all of us. I mean, you know, we're all negotiating the PTSD that we have from this.
Marjani, I do want to hear what you do, but Renee also says, first Ava said, yeah, you got to correct the cartoons. And then Renee says, you doing okay? You're correcting those cartoons. But what do you do every day? What's your routine? I know you've got Bushwoman right now, but.
Yeah, but even that, one, everything is a negotiation. But the truth is, it's been that way since I was pregnant. It's been that way. So it is what it is. I'm a mother first. I'm a partner second, and sort of, kind of, they switch back and forth. Real talk. If you want to keep your relationship, this shit gotta, you want to stay married.
Yes.
Go to bed. And you know, and I'm an artist. And the dance of those things, you know, when we went on the road, that to me was, I would see Nkosi like leap in development, like by miles. because he was seeing all these peoples. He was, you know, when we went to Brussels, you know, he's hearing this different, you know, all these different languages, and he's just like so alert and holding so much, and he's watching Unicorn. So now he knows Unicorn by heart, and he's bouncing his head, you know, when it comes on, and it's like, oh, here they come. Oh, here he comes. Come here. And
Who's coming?
And Kosi, come on this
Kosi!
side. So there's that part. But then what we're doing on a reg is homeschool.
Yeah.
Like flashcards. And,
Kosi!
Say hi, Mama Charmaine. Mama Cynthia.
Hi, sweet stuff. Cynthia, you think he'll come?
No.
No. Teenagers are different.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
No.
I'm sure.
Exactly.
And he's reading. Don't do that. And he's reading. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Reading out words. And those are leaps. Don't go with Daddy now. There you go.
Okay, that was it.
That took place only after we stopped sending him to school.
Mm.
What?
Listen, so only after, quick story. He came home from school one day and he said George Washington. I said, George Washington Carver? And he said, he said George Washington. And I was like, oh hell, why are you guys teaching the president? They're 4. So I like kind of lost my shit, and we basically decided, okay, it's enough with school. We thought we had vetted the place super hardcore. It was Montessori. We were like, okay, that's enough. We're not gonna do that.
Oh, I have to tell Tony about that.
I mean, it was so shocking that, like, why are we still teaching this curriculum? Like, why are you founding? Why are you talking about founding in 20? Why are you talking about founding? So long story short, we came together. We've been homeschooling in Kosi, and that's sort of what our day-to-day is. It's the homeschool, it's the cooking, and then this fall it will be mixed the homeschool, the cooking, the cleaning, and the making art. And the reality is it's been that way for the past 4 years, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Oh no, guess what?
Time.
Yeah, that stinks, right?
That was awesome.
It stinks. Come on back, Kimani. Come on back, Nick. And before we do our official goodbye, I do want to say that Ayodele started an online program about tap dancers, which is just fantastic. It is, oh my gosh, Tuesdays at 12.
Yes.
Tuesdays at 12. And Stephanie Batten Bland is going to be a part of the Brooklyn Botanic Garden with Pentacle. And that's also Tuesday, but it's Tuesday evenings. Evenings, what? That wasn't English. Evenings. Tuesday evenings. Oh, where's Nick?
He's there.
Hi.
Oh, hi.
Can we just say, we are going to place again the links to get in touch with these amazing women. And so you can show some love, and thank you all. We are sorry that we didn't get to all the amazing questions, but we don't have 5 hours. But thank you. Thank you. All right.
Yes, Kimani.
Everybody.
Don't forget next week, Charmaine. Don't forget next
week.
week.
Wait. Thank you, Kimani. Mm-hmm. Next week, it's Rennie Harris and Jay Bowie. Whoop, 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 whoop. Cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Lift your glasses up. Yes. Oh, wait, all the way. All the way.
Thank you, these beautiful Black women mamas raising brown boys. Yes.
Yeah, right? Kimani's raising a brown boy too.
Yes.
Let's do it.
They rock.
And then we got Nick.
I am a brown boy.
That's right.
A beautiful brown boy, I might add.
A 2020 graduate without a graduation. So this is to Nick.
To Nick.
To Nick.
Nick.
And to all you fabulous people who joined the conversation. We are so thrilled.
Thank you.
Please check out, what are they supposed to check out? Sorry.
Check out our link tree. You can see our Instagram, our Facebook page, the YouTube page. our Venmo, and our other link to donate to the cause.
Join our mailing list. Join our mailing list so that you get
everything.
Oh, everything. Cynthia, you want to say something? Marjani, you want to say something? Any announcements? You better hold that glass, Cynthia.
I'm a lightweight, but I'm holding it.
Stay on screen.
I want to say thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for sharing this moment, Marjani. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm grateful.
Ditto. I am also extraordinarily grateful. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be among these powerful people. Power Charmaine. And I hope we can keep talking, Cynthia, because I adore in and out. And thank y'all for supporting. Don't be shy about that link tree because we're trying to make this work in spite of COVID.
Come on now.
Let's make it work, please. Ashe.
Don't be shy. Ashe. Bye, y'all. See y'all next week. Same time. Jay Bowie, Rennie Harris. Woo! Oh, Cynthia left.
She left.